Hi guys, so I'm making this video to talk about one of the most common, um, I would say, misconceptions about transgender people. It's one that I see more or less on a daily basis. I see them in comments, I see them with some news sources such as Breitbart, which is just complete shit what they write. Um, and the most common misconception about transgender people is people think that it is a mental illness, which it is not. The American Psychological Association actually has on their website, and now just to clarify what the American Psychological Association is, because I think there are people out there that completely forget that they're the ones that create the DSM, and the DSM is the Diagnostic Standard Manual for mental health. So if you have ADD or you have bipolar or schizophrenia or any other sort of mental condition, they diagnose you using the standards that are set forth by the American Psychological Association. And throughout the world, there are different organizations that more or less do the exact same thing, and they have their own code system. They have their own DSM-like manual that psychologists use, and this thing is constantly updated. It's being updated year after year after year because as a society we learn from previous mistakes, and as a society we realize that sometimes we think something is one way years ago, and then a little bit more research comes out and we realize, well, that's not the case. And this happened for homosexuals. Gays and lesbians were at one time considered mentally ill when they're not. This all goes back to when the DSM was created that had those particular entries. And we realize that as a society, we are stupid. We really are. So the American Psychological Association, which is very widely recognized as being a reliable source of what is and what isn't a mental illness. And the DSM actually is called Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So with the DSM, a psychological state is considered a mental disorder only if it causes significant distress or disability. Many transgender people do not experience their gender as distressing or disabling, which implies that identifying as transgender does not constitute a mental disorder. For these individuals, the significant problem is finding affordable resources, which I can attest to that. Fucking $30,000 to get SRS. And also the hormones, like it's like $100-something without insurance. Such as counseling, hormone therapy, medical procedures, and the social support necessary to freely express their gender identity and minimize discrimination. Many other obstacles may lead to distress, including a lack of acceptance within society. Duh! You know, I'm making this fucking video because society is fucking retarded and that they won't even just open up their minds. They're just being willfully ignorant, and they're going, oh, well, Bible this, Bible that, oh, Christian values, family values, all this bullshit that they're just pulling out of their ass when they don't have any actual, basis to base their standpoint on. Instead, it's just, I think it's this way, so therefore it's this way. That's how conservatives are. Okay. Direct and indirect experiences with discrimination or assault. Now, for direct or indirect experiences with discrimination, with the North Carolina bill being discriminatory, it does affect me even though I live in Nevada. And the reason why it bothers me is because knowing that in my country, the country that I'm supposed to love and defend and all that bullshit, is systematically discriminating against people like me. So yeah, it doesn't directly affect me in Nevada with whatever the fucking South decides to pull out of their ass next. It's just that knowing that there are transgender people who are being discriminated against in those states, knowing that the law is not in their favor, that the law is being used as a weapon to discriminate against a minority group, that's where I have a fucking problem with it. And these experiences may lead to transgender people to suffer with anxiety, depression, and related disorders at higher rates than non-transgender persons. So we have people like Black Pigeon Speaks, and there's a bunch of other people that have made this stance that transgender people have a mental illness, when in reality they don't. And they don't realize that they themselves are the cause of the high suicide rate. They themselves are the cause of all the depression, anxiety, and the distress that transgender people face. Because for me, I wasn't fucking upset about being a girl. I was upset that all my fucking retarded friends decided to abandon me. I was upset that my family refused to call me Catherine. For the longest time, they've just recently finally come around and they're starting to actually address me properly. But for a while, I had zero support from them. So that is when I was severely depressed. I was severely suicidal. Nowadays, I'm not, because my family has finally come around. My family is actually showing me the support, and they're treating me authentically. Whenever I call them, they call me sweetheart. They treat me like if I was born female, and that's all I ever wanted from them. And that's all I want from society. All I want from society is just to treat me like a girl. That's it. There's no special treatment required. There's no special treatment being requested. I just want to be treated like you would treat any other female. And this is where the whole mentality of these conservative idiots, they're saying, well, trans people shouldn't be able to get special rights. But they're not asking for special rights. We don't need special rights. We just want you to acknowledge the fact that we are who we say we are. And the problem is people won't do that. People have a stick shoved so far up their ass, and that they are just so willfully ignorant that they refuse. They're like, nope, I don't agree with it, so therefore I'm going to mistreat you. And that kind of bullshit is beyond ridiculous. Because the thing is, people don't do it the other way around. You'll never see a transgender person deliberately like fucking with you because you believe in a religion or something. I will never, mistreat someone because they believe in a religion. Even though I don't agree with religion in general, I will never not love somebody for being religious. But the problem is religious individuals don't do the complete opposite. They don't do the same. They don't give me the same courtesy that I give them. Instead, what they do is they say, well, because I know that you were born with a penis, you are now infringing upon my religious freedom, which is completely retarded of a mentality and a way of thinking. And I don't understand why our society is just so thick-headed and stupid, because it's very obvious that their standpoint is wrong. It's very obvious because they're doing a do as I say, not as I do bullshit. Instead, they're the ones throwing the rocks. They constantly keep on, throwing the first shot. And then when we retaliate in the form of passing or having President Obama come up with a directive, whoa, wait a second. You can't do this. This is gross overreach, blah, 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 blah. No, the only reason why the Obama administration is doing this is because you dumbasses are the ones that are doing the complete opposite. You guys are the ones that are presenting these laws that discriminate against transgender people. So what is the federal government supposed to do? Just sit back, be like, okay, not a problem. We don't give a fuck. No, because I deserve just as much protection as any other fucking person. But instead, you have these assholes who are, the majority of them are Republican. I'm sorry, that is just statistically accurate. But they're the ones that are throwing rocks, and they're the ones that are coming up with these laws in the first place. And then they turn around and somehow try to spin the whole thing into, well, we had to because you guys started it. No, we didn't. We didn't start shit. You guys are the ones that threw the first rock. You guys are the ones that started this whole thing. And the federal government doing what they're doing is just a reaction to your stupid action. And I'm fucking pissed about it. I'm really tired that we live in a world full of assholes. And that's what they are. They're fucking assholes. Because the moment you bring up the fact that history has repeated itself once again, where, I'm fighting for my civil rights. And my civil rights are actually quite simple. I want to be treated like I was born female. That's it. I want the same expectations applied to me. I want, to be able to do everything that any other woman does within reason. And I understand that, yes, I will never be able to have a period. I understand that I will never be able to give birth to a child. However, I can nurse a child because I do have real breasts. That is one of the luxuries of taking hormones. It's just a natural thing. Your body has estrogen, you start developing breasts. It's just the way it is. And I just want to be treated like any other female. I want to be able to use the woman's room because other women get to use it. And the thing is, by saying, oh, these policies are going to allow men into women's restrooms, you are basically saying to me that I'm not a female. But I have news for you. My driver's license says sex, female. So, fuck you, and if you're against transgender people, go fuck yourself. Bury your head in the sand, because you would be doing the world a favor if you just shut the fuck up and allow progress to progress.